Dashavatar represents the 10 different incarnations of Vishnu, which were taken to save the earth and its living beings from destruction. This video will narrate to you the story of the 7th incarnation of Vishnu. Lord Ram is one of the most adored and worshipped gods in India. He is depicted holding a bow and arrow, indicating his readiness to destroy evil. His story forms the epic Ramayana. Ram can be simply described as a man who displays perfect morals as well as social behavior. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, Ram is the embodiment of truth, of morality, the ideal son, the ideal husband, and above all, the ideal king. He is a symbol of the victory of right over evil. He is perfect in every aspect and is often referred as Maryada Purushottam, meaning the one who is the supreme man. Ram was the son of the king of Ayodhya, Dashrath. Dashrath had 3 wives, Kaushalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. Ram was born to Kaushalya. Kaikeyi gave birth to Bharat, and to Sumitra, the twin Lakshman and Shatrughna were born. Ram was the eldest son and Bharat was the second eldest. When Ram attained the age to be crowned king, Manthara, a servant maid, brainwashed Kaikeyi that Bharat should be the king and not Ram. After repeated attempts at manipulating Kaikeyi, Manthara finally succeeded. Kaikeyi went to Dashrath and very slyly reminded him of the boon he had promised her. When Dashrath asked what did her heart desire, she said that she wanted her son, Bharat, to be crowned as the king of Ayodhya, and that Ram should be sent on an exile for 14 years. On hearing this, Dashrath was spellbound, but as he had promised Kaikeyi, he could not go back on his word. Even before Dashrath could order Ram at once, to fulfill his father's words, along with Sita and Lakshman, left for their 14-year-long exile. It is also important to remember that when these incidents took place, Bharat was away from the kingdom and thus was unaware of all that happened. After coming back, he was grief-stricken and angered by his mother's evil deed. He reproached her and wished she was dead. Ram, on the other hand, was camping in Chitrakoot and was leading a simple life. But later they moved to Panchvati as suggested by Muni Agastya. Shurpanakha, the sister of Ravan of Lanka, had this area occupied along with her 2 brothers, Khar and Dushan. One day, Shurpanakha by chance happened to pass by the hermitage where Ram was staying. She was stunned by seeing these 3 beautiful human beings. She wanted to marry Ram. Ram refused to entertain Shurpanakha. This made her furious and she wanted to kill Sita. In order to protect Sita, Lakshman cut off her nose. Shurpanakha was so angry, she went straight to her brother Ravan and reported the matter to him. Shurpanakha also informed Ravan about this divine beauty Sita. Ravan decided to make her his wife and also fight Ram. After they were both gone, came a sage to ask for alms. Sita was compassionate and therefore she could not turn him away and offered the sage what she had. As soon as she crossed the line drawn by Lakshman, the sage revealed himself as Ravan and took her by her waist and abducted her. As Sita was being taken away to Lanka, Jatayu, the eagle king, saw them and tried to stop Ravan. But Ravan cut his wings off and he fell to the ground. When Ram and Lakshman returned to the hut, they were shocked to see Sita gone. Jatayu held on to his last breath and after telling them about Sita's abduction, he died. A series of vigorous search began. Both Ram and Lakshman at last came to Rishimukh Parvat. Shabri had told them to meet Sugriv, who alone would be able to help Ram to rescue Sita. Hanuman, when he heard their story, said in turn that his king Sugriv too was in the same predicament, as he too had lost his wife and was turned out of the kingdom by his brother. Therefore, he was sure that Sugriv would be of use in finding Sita. Sugriv thus took the vow of friendship. Sugriv promised to help Ram, and Ram in return promised to make him the king of Kishkinda and also retrieve his wife. Ram killed Sugriv's brother Bali as promised and Sugriv was made the king of Kishkinda. Upon becoming the king, Sugriv on his part sent 4 batches of Vanaras towards east, west, north and south and strictly ordered them that their search for Sita should be complete in a month. All 3 directions were fruitless in terms of finding Sita. However, towards the south, an eagle named Sampati informed the Vanaras that Sita was in Lanka, and if one needed to rescue her, one must cross the ocean. But now the question remained, how do they cross the ocean? Soon after, the Vanar army made a bridge out of big rocks with Shri Ram written on them. The rocks floated on water, and thus all of them could cross the sea and reach Lanka. In Lanka, a huge battle broke out between the parties. Ram killed Ravan and made Vibhishan the king of Lanka. Thus, Sita was rescued and brought back. Ram, Lakshman and Sita came back to Ayodhya after their 14-year-long exile, and at last Ram became the king. His reign was the perfect example of monarchy. Even amongst today's political parties in India, it is remembered as Ram Rajya,